I'm going to take this criticism head on and just say yes, this video is just rambling from a man with no money. If you're a subscriber, you already know, and if you're new, hi, welcome to the channel. I'm broke. I don't usually come across many issues with having fun with low funds, other than not being able to quickly pay for games that just come out, and even that comes with its own benefits. I usually just rely on seasonal discounts. Praise thee thy Steam summer sale! Stick with older games on older consoles, and other completely legitimate means of playing games. But it's becoming more and more of a luxury to be able to play video games nowadays, and I wonder why. I remember my days of going to GameStop with some Christmas and/or birthday money and being able to come out with a couple games that I'll be able to hold myself over with until the cycle continues. The only downside of the time was GameStop constantly trying to have you sign up for their pro membership incessantly. I can't really do that anymore, both because I'm not a kid anymore and any money that I do receive is going toward my retirement fund, and GameStop is basically dead at this point. Shit is getting more expensive in general, but in the gaming sphere, there's really no reason for the majority of video games to be as expensive as they're getting. I always thought that paying $60 was a bit much, but now we have to pay from a span of $70 to $100 on video games depending on if you want a new sweatshirt to put on your virtual person before you crank 90s on 12-year-olds. Now look, I'm not dumb, and I realize that video games with the crazy graphical improvements that have been made need more expensive software to create, which would be a reason for the prices to shoot up a little. But you would think that with the prices and the graphics going up, the quality of games would be followed along and improved too. But that's not the case, as I've already stated in the previous video of me complaining. Video games have stayed overall the same in quality and gameplay, and in some cases even gotten worse due to games coming out unfinished. AAA companies, the ones that have been raising their prices, feel as though they have no incentive to finish their games since people will buy them anyway due to their large name in the industry. I'm not going to continue to harp on stuff that I've already talked about. The rising prices and overall lack of returns for the consumer is already means enough for people to be upset, but it's like an unhealthy addiction on the internet to piss and moan about stuff that's totally in their control, like paying $100 for a game months before it releases. I'm guilty of that. Twice, actually. I mean, hell, even I'm sitting here complaining when the easiest solution to my problem is to not buy the games, which I'm already doing because I can't. But even if I don't, others will do the opposite and keep on acting like the game wasn't doomed from the start. Let me give you an example. A game comes out at the selling price of $70, because it's a AAA game. That game was forbidden from being talked about because of a review embargo. That lasted until an hour before launch. With not much talked about the game in its build-up to being released, do you think that that game should be bought upon launch? No, obviously not. You know what game I'm talking about? I was talking specifically about Redfall, but this case can loosely apply to a lot of different games. When I started making that example, WWE 2K20 came to mind. They had minimal advertisements for the game and still released it at full price. And as it turns out, the developers of the game, Yuke's, literally bailed in the middle of the creation of the game. The game was so glitch-ridden and horrible that it got dropped from Steam and the PlayStation and Xbox stores. That's the first time I've ever heard of that happening for a video game. It was so unfinished that nobody wanted to distribute it. Even Steam, and that store sells Hentai Shooter 3D. And it sold for $60. A game where they had to replace the developers halfway through sold for $60. With the addition of a bunch of DLC along with it. That's the state that gaming is in at this point. For every Spider-Man, God of War, or Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, there are 20 or more cases of the Lord of the Rings Golem, where there are lag spikes caused by the hair physics from a character that quite literally lacks a full head of hair. And guess what? It sells for $60, $70 if you want the Precious Edition, which includes the soundtrack, emotes, and other stuff that don't matter. And this is where my anger and lack of enthusiasm for modern day games stem from. All of these garbage cash grabs, and they dare raise the price for these knowingly half-baked games that have become more and more frequent in this industry. Don't get me wrong, I would still probably complain about the game's prices even if they were good games, because I'm broke and I don't have money to pay for them. But the difference in those situations would be that there's some understanding of why they're raised in price and why people buy them when they come out. Right now, there's literally no reason at all, and it frustrates me. Not because people are buying the game, that's fine, I'm not going to be angry at people for having fun. I'm frustrated that these companies make it just that much harder for those people having fun to have fun. And half the time, the fun in the game is shitting on it with friends and not just experiencing it. And though it's hilarious in its own right, I've done my fair share of laughing at bad games, it's also disappointing. I also wonder why some games still sell at the same price digitally as it does physically. Wouldn't a reason for video games to be at a higher price be because of the manufacturing cost of the disc and the case? If that's the case, why would the digital games that don't require a disc cost the same? I'm realizing now that I'm asking these questions as if I'm going to get some technical expert in the field to answer. Come on, I know I'm not. So I'll just sum it up to the fuck gamers get money cycle that we're all falling into at this point. I think the overall point I'm trying to make for this video is, first of all, stop complaining, that's my job. Do research on a game before you spend almost $100 on it. Stop supporting half-assed games. I know you want next year's rendition of Handball Manager 22, but you should respect your wallet and spend that money on something of use to your time. Whether that be other video games or an ice cream cone, I don't fucking know. And the most important point that I hope you got out of this video? Invest in indie games. Here are some indie games that you could buy right now if you want to have fun. Celeste, Stardew Valley, Played Up, Night in the Woods, Cuphead, Hollow Knight, Oxygen not included, and your mother cause she always be getting played. Sorry. And many more. That's it for me, everybody. These games I've talked about may have been extremely expensive, but you know what's not expensive? My merch. Cause I'm having a summer sale starting today to the 20th for 15% off all items in the store. You can pick it up now at bignameshopbay.myspreadshop.com or click the link in the description or at the top of the screen. If you liked the video, give it a like, subscribe, and follow my socials. All of that in the description. It's also free with no fees and helps out the channel very much. Also, join my Discord server to be updated on future uploads and when I stream on Twitch, if I ever do that again. Thank you all for watching, you lovely people. This is Broke Boy, name, signing out.